Alright, it's official, Tyrese Haliburton is not only one of the most entertaining players in the entire NBA, but he's also having an MVP caliber season. It feels like every game he plays, he's putting up 2K my career numbers. We've seen many players put up crazy stat lines before, but very few can do it like Tyrese Haliburton. His performance in the first elimination game within the in-season tournament was actually incredible. On top of leading his team to beat the Celtics convincingly, he had one of his best games of his season so far, which is really saying something because he's had a lot of unbelievable performances. He ended the game with 26 points, 10 rebounds, and 13 assists. That was the first triple-double of his career so far, and he finished with 0 turnovers, which has been the theme for him all season. Tyrese came up big several times throughout the whole game, and when the team needed him the most, he did this.
Haliburton trapped off Bailey's three, and he puts it in!
What a moment for a guy playing in just his second national TV game ever. Yeah, this team has been hidden for the past 2 years, but that doesn't matter because Haliburton and the Pacers are only getting better. And I have to mention, that crowd was literally a playoff crowd, I don't care what anybody says. The whole in-season tournament thing has actually been really awesome. And the Pacers have 10 players on their team making less than $3 million this season, so they really want that extra $500K. But right now, the Pacers have one of the best records in the league and statistically have one of the best offenses. Go figure, a team called the Pacers play at the fastest pace in the whole league while also being first in offensive rating, as well as being second in assist to turnover ratio behind Denver, who literally just won a championship last season. The numbers speak for themselves, and if you watch them, they definitely pass the eye test. But those numbers are of course heavily inflated because they have Tyrese Haliburton, who absolutely thrives in transition and can get himself or a teammate a bucket at any given time. Right now, he's leading the league in assists per game with almost 12, and his scoring has reached another level. He's literally a modern-day John Stockton or Chris Paul. I'm not saying he's better or worse than them, he just has a similar playstyle which we rarely ever see. He's almost a top 10 scorer in points per game while doing everything I just mentioned. And although he has one of the weirdest jump shots I've ever seen, that thing is automatic. He's had multiple games shooting over 10 threes, and he's not just shooting when he's wide open. It keeps the defense on their toes and makes them guard him way closer than they want to, especially with his ability to find the open teammate. I mean, just look at the numbers from his past 6 games. That is actually unreal for a 23-year-old point guard. Multiple 30-plus point games, and almost every one of them has been over 10 assists. He's been shooting 52% from the field and 45% from 3 while taking 9 a game. Plus, I forgot to mention he's averaging those 12 assists while also averaging just 2.4 turnovers. He's not only putting up these crazy games, but he's doing it in the most efficient ways possible, which is really what separates him more than anything. One of the reasons the team plays at such a fast pace though is because sometimes the Pacers' defense is non-existent. And although they have one of the best offenses, they are dead last in defensive rating, which gives them more possessions and keeps the pace going at 1,000,000 miles per hour, which looks bad because it is, but it's also promising that if they can halfway try on defense for some possessions, then they can be a really good team, especially because they don't have a second star. The second leading scorer on the team is Miles Turner, who has been playing really good but isn't necessarily known as a scorer. Other than that, anyone on the team can contribute on any given night, and that's by far what makes them the most dangerous. One night it might be Mathurin giving you buckets, or it might be Obi Toppin or others. As a defense, you just really never know. If they can get another star around Haliburton, then they could take this team from a good team to a great one. He's been playing so good that people are really questioning if the Kings should have traded De'Aaron Fox instead of Tyrese, which is something you can always look back and ask, but if we're being honest, both teams still won the trade. De'Aaron Fox right now is literally averaging 30 points a game. Let's not act like he's been underperforming in the slightest. And I know people call Sabonis a playoff choker, but he's still been playing really well. Keeping 2 ball-dominant guards in Fox and Haliburton didn't make much sense in the grand scheme of things, so a trade had to happen to take the team to another level. Last season, the Kings made it to the playoffs for the first time since 2006, and the Pacers are back to being competitive with a very bright future. That trade allowed both players to become the superstars they are today. But really, if you watch Team USA in the FIBA World Cup, then Haliburton's performances probably aren't surprising you at all. The writing was on the wall all last season, but he single-handedly took that USA team to another level. His transition game allowed the bench unit to constantly run the floor rather than setting up their crappy ISO offense. And he elevated the bench so much that people including me were saying that the bench and starters should be completely flipped. Jalen Brunson was great at controlling the game, which is needed in most cases, but for a team that never practices together and barely had any offense, flying in transition was the way to go. That's exactly what Tyrese brought to Team USA and the Pacers. If he continues to lead this team to wins and they make a real impact in the Eastern Conference, then he'll definitely be considered for MVP. He's averaging better numbers than multiple MVP winners, but it's still the beginning of the season and multiple other players also have a shot. He's already said multiple times he doesn't want to be a loser, and hopefully the Pacers front office is thinking the same thing. Continue to build around him, and they are literally 1 star away from being a true contender. They were unable to do really anything with the last star players they've had, but now they don't have to worry about LeBron every season. I'm really excited to see how his career continues to progress and interested in seeing how the Pacers handle it. But let me know down in the comments what you think about Tyrese Haliburton, and please leave a like on the video. You've already made it this far, so you might as well. Also, please subscribe to the channel for more basketball videos just like this one.